Umain recommends. Access umain.uk.net. In this Umain Recommends we read a sample of the article, How a Blind Artist is Challenging Our Understanding of Color. For centuries, people who were born blind have been the intellectual curios of philosophers studying consciousness. This is particularly true for those exploring the way our consciousness is affected by our bodies, especially our eyes, which Leonardo da Vinci described as the window of the soul. One interesting fallacy is the belief that people born blind have no real idea of color. In the 17th century, for instance, the philosopher John Locke thought parts of the world were peculiar to the individual senses. These parts could be seen in the lack of understanding of people who were blind or deaf. Similarly, David Hume believed that when the senses weren't stimulated by individual energies, such as light or sound, then no ideas could ever be formed. Even in the 20th century, it was commonly believed that people born blind were unable to have a true understanding of the world around them. For instance, in 1950 the psychologist Jezza Reves wrote, "No, one born blind is able to become aware of the diversity of nature and to apprehend all the rich and various appearances of objects." Philosopher Thomas Nagel felt that blind people had only the most shallow understanding of color in comparison to those with sight. Up until the 21st century, we had little idea about how we could test our beliefs about visual concepts. But then scientists became aware of a Turkish artist named Esref Armagan. Born totally blind, Armagan has no direct visual experience. Yet he paints and draws using not only color, but also shadow, light and perspective in his unique imaginative scenes. So how did Armagan learn about color? The answer seems to be through a creative understanding of visual elements through language and his remaining perceptions. The artist has strong memories of what he was told about the visual world by his father. Armagan was often taken to this father's engineering workshop as a child, and would ask questions about his surrounding environment. Crucially, he also had opportunities to use this knowledge. Being an engineer, his father owned a scribe, a sharp tool for scratching, cutting and drilling points on metal, and Armagan used it to etch images on a cardboard. Armagan's father would guide his blind son's hand over the engraved lines and describe what he saw. The young artist then practiced making lines to represent visual edges and shading, which he showed to family members who provided feedback and more verbal descriptions. Having mastered visual ideas such as edges and shade, the teenage Armagan began drawing in color, and continued to seek comments and feedback from those around him. He described this process to my former student Ruth Cole as one of learning by repetition, by asking and showing over and over again. Did you like this recommendation? Hit the like button and read it in full by clicking on the link provided in this video description. All citations recommended here are solely for educational purposes. Our aim is to provide the community with access to the educational inclusive materials of excellency we come across. Yours included. If you hold the copyright of any video or article cited here, or you think they should not be available on our channel, please let us know and we'll remove them at your discretion.